When Sarah joked about an open relationship that night, I laughed. I thought it was just another one of those careless remarks that people make after a long day. Imagine it, she said, leaning back on the couch with a mischievous smile. You, me, and anyone else we want. Totally open. I chuckled and replied, yeah, right? Sure, Sarah. But her eyes were glinting differently. Playful but also testing. And that's when I realized some jokes aren't really jokes. Some are invitations to see what someone is truly capable of. We'd been married for 6 years. Our early days were filled with laughter, spontaneity, and passion. But lately intimacy had been shrinking, like a photograph fading in the sun. Sarah would deflect when I tried to get close, claim she was too tired, too stressed, too not in the mood. And I tried to be patient. I tried to understand. I tried everything. But patience only lasts so long when your love is met with casual dismissal. So that night, when she tossed out the open relationship joke, something inside me shifted. Not out of anger but clarity. I wanted to see how serious she really was, how far she would go if I mirrored her intentions back at her. The next week, I set the plan in motion. I casually mentioned that I'd been chatting with someone new, someone who had expressed interest in meeting me, and I asked if it would be okay to see where it went. Her laughter froze mid-air. Wait, you're serious? I nodded. Calm. Direct. I said I'd respect your wishes. You wanted an open relationship, so I'm following the rules. Suddenly the joke wasn't funny anymore. The room felt smaller. The air tighter. She fidgeted on the couch, avoiding my gaze, realizing the gravity of what she'd suggested. For days the tension hung between us. She tried to backtrack, saying it was just a joke, but I held firm. The point wasn't to hurt her. It was to make her see how serious I could be when words meet action. And then came the evening that changed everything. I came home with a confident air, telling her I'd met someone for dinner that night. Her reaction was immediate. Shock. Confusion. A flicker of fear. Her mind raced, trying to reconcile the carefree suggestion she had made with the reality now sitting across from her. A husband who didn't joke. It was in that moment, watching her face shift from amusement to unease, that I understood the power of intention. Words are easy, but actions are where truth lives. The next morning, Sarah barely looked at me. Her usual teasing smile was gone, replaced with a quiet tension I hadn't seen in years. She tried to pretend nothing had changed, but every word she spoke was cautious, calculated, like she was navigating a room full of invisible traps. I kept things casual. I didn't confront her, I didn't accuse her, I didn't beg for an explanation. Instead, I acted like the situation was exactly what she had asked for. And that was the key. The moment she realized I wasn't bluffing, the shift began. By midweek, she was asking questions. Are you really going to meet her? She whispered one evening, nervously twisting her hair. I nodded, keeping my voice calm. Yes. You wanted an open relationship. I'm showing you I can honor that. Her lips parted, but no words came out. That silence spoke louder than anything she could have said. It didn't take long for the tension to reach its peak. One night, while I was making coffee in the kitchen, she came up behind me and said softly, almost cautiously, You know, I didn't think you'd actually go through with it. I smiled faintly, not turning around. I don't treat words like jokes, Sarah. If you say it, I believe it. Actions follow words. That's all there is to it. She froze. The reality had finally hit her. Her playful, careless remark, which she had tossed off without thought, had consequences. And those consequences were real, immediate, and utterly undeniable. For days she kept her distance, but I noticed subtle changes, lingering glances, hesitant touches, little signs that she was reconsidering everything she had said. The dynamic had shifted completely. She had believed she could test the limits, push boundaries, and see if I'd stay complacent. But I hadn't stayed. I had acted. And in that action, she saw the man she had underestimated. By the end of the week, she came to me, eyes wide with a mix of disbelief and realization. I didn't know you'd actually do it, she said quietly. I thought it was just a joke. I looked at her calmly. It wasn't a joke. You said it. I listened. You wanted an open relationship. I gave you the reality of that choice. Now you can see what seriousness looks like. Her face softened, her defenses beginning to crumble. She didn't say much after that, But the unspoken acknowledgement hung between us, the recognition that words carry weight and actions carry truth. And in that silence I realized something important. Sometimes the most powerful lessons don't come from confrontation or anger. They come from letting reality speak for itself. The following weekend, Sarah tried to resume normalcy, but the energy in the house had shifted irreversibly. She moved carefully, tested the waters with jokes, and tried to engage in playful conversation. But I could see the hesitation, the fear that her words could no longer be taken lightly. Every comment, every casual suggestion was now met with the knowledge that I could act on it, that I would act on it if necessary. One evening, she sat beside me on the couch, quiet for several minutes before speaking. I didn't realize how serious you were. I thought I could just say things and nothing would change. I turned to her, calm and steady. Words are only as strong as the actions that follow them, Sarah. You wanted freedom, but freedom without responsibility is meaningless. I simply gave your words their true consequence. Her eyes widened. She wasn't angry. She was struck by understanding. A mix of awe and fear flickered in her gaze. It wasn't about me punishing her. It was about her finally seeing the reality she had invited into our lives. Days passed, and she began engaging more sincerely. There were no jokes, no teasing comments, no casual dismissal of commitment. Every interaction was thoughtful, measured, and genuine. She realized that casual remarks, once acted upon, could no longer be taken lightly. The playful boundary she thought she could control had become a mirror reflecting her own intentions back at her. By the end of the month, she finally sat me down. I want to make this work, she said quietly, almost reverently. I understand now what you mean when you say actions speak louder than words. I see how serious you are about us. I nodded, letting her words sink in. It wasn't about revenge, control, or proving a point. It was about establishing truth in a relationship that had been slowly eroded by carelessness. Her awareness, her acknowledgement, and her willingness to act differently were all that mattered. That night, for the first time in months, we talked openly, honestly, and with a renewed sense of purpose. The tension lifted, replaced by understanding and respect, the very foundation of intimacy that had been missing for so long. Sarah had wanted to test the limits. I gave her the lesson she hadn't expected. Seriousness matters. Words without commitment are empty. And for the first time, she recognized that love, trust, and connection are built through consistent action, not fleeting jokes or whimsical desires. From that day forward, the open relationship joke never resurfaced. Instead, it became a turning point, a reminder of the power of taking words seriously and acting with intention. We moved forward, not as people testing each other's boundaries, but as partners who understood that true commitment is demonstrated through action, not casual remarks.